Why do so many people start to deteriorate after they reach the age of 80? Even those who were mentally sharp and energetic a short time ago frequently seem to lose steam. Most people think it's just terrible luck or heredity. However, what if the true causes are much more nuanced and still under your control? 5 unexpected variables that subtly diminish life after 80 will be revealed in this video. These are not the typical suspects, such as exercise or diet. Even those who have lived sensibly tend to overlook these deeper causes. The good news is that you can take precautions once you comprehend them. Making even one of these subtle but significant changes could help you maintain your health, relationships, and spiritual vitality for years to come. Stay with me if you're prepared to learn what actually affects longevity after the age of 80. This may alter your aging process. Put the number 1 in the comments if you're watching and prepared to learn. For more thoughts that celebrate your senior years, remember to subscribe, like, and share this video with a loved one. The first is a decline in microsocial interaction. Disease, including physical deterioration, is one of the most underappreciated hazards to healthy aging after the age of 80. There's something far more nuanced: the gradual disappearance of minor, routine human encounters. We're not referring to Sunday dinners with family or meaningful discussions with long-standing friends. Yes, those are significant, but what really starts to fade are the small conversations that you once had without giving them much thought. Perhaps you used to chuckle with the grocery store clerk or wave to the man who was walking his dog every morning. Perhaps you asked the pharmacist how their weekend was, or you just nodded to a neighbor as you were taking out the garbage. Researchers now refer to these seemingly insignificant actions as microsocial engagement, and they have a significant impact on how your body and brain function. For the neurological system, these instances function like little sparks. They serve as a reminder that your brain is still interconnected, necessary, and a part of the living universe. They uphold your sense of self, your position in society, and your inherent worth. But after 80, what happens if those moments start to fade? Because life gets cuter, many older folks start to distance themselves from these interactions, not because they want to. Perhaps hearing has gotten harder. Perhaps there is a lack of movement or the weather is too severe. Store visits are replaced by online ordering. Family members begin to run your errands. Your fear of falling makes you quit going for walks. As a result, the circle of impromptu connections gets smaller. Additionally, that shrinking has an impact on your biology in addition to your social life. Research indicates that even in its mildest form, solitude triggers a stress hormone change in the brain. Inflammation increases. Immunity deteriorates. The parts of the brain linked to memory, concentration, and emotional control start to destructure with time. To put it simply, you feel faster and older. The problematic part is that this procedure can be imperceptible. The truth is that the lack of tiny human interactions subtly tells your body that it's no longer as linked or necessary, even though you may believe you're merely simplifying your days or eliminating needless effort. And systems begin to shut down when the body thinks they are no longer required. The hopeful portion comes next. It is possible to undo this loss. You don't have to rekindle old relationships or host lavish events. Reintroducing little engagement routines is all that is required. Even if you only have time, say hello to the woman who is walking her dog. Find out how your barista's morning is going. When watering your plants, go outside where your neighbors can see you. These little exchanges may seem inconsequential, yet they serve as a reminder to your body and mind that you are still involved. An elderly man I knew previously made it a point to walk to the same cafe each morning. For the familiar smiles, not the coffee. It provided a reason for his morning. He maintained his mental acuity well into his late 80s because it provided his thoughts rhythm. Therefore, it's time to restore such times if you've realized that your world has become quieter, that small discussions have diminished, or that you've begun to feel a little invisible. Because eating kale and exercising aren't the only ways to age properly. It all comes down to maintaining even the smallest connections. Overly cautious inaction is the second reason. As we get older, there's a certain wisdom that's subtly promoted. Take caution, relax, don't go overboard. Indeed, exercising caution can be wise. However, prudence no longer only protects you after a certain point. You get caught in it. The warning itself isn't the issue. It is the gradual, undetectable change from being able to move freely to moving less, and then to barely moving at all. Usually, it begins with something minor. Perhaps you cut back because you had a near miss when stepping off the curb or because you slipped once while descending the stairs. You quit going it alone.
You no longer grab items from the lower shelf. You wait for someone else to balance, lift, and bend. You spend more time sitting down. Friends and family may admire your prudence. Avoid taking a chance. As they say, better safe than sorry. Your life gradually gets smaller, but safer. What no one tells you is this: strength doesn't rest when movement stops. Rather, it decreases. Not only in your legs either. Strength leaves your posture, balance, core, and coordination. Your body cannot be stored for later use like a battery. It resembles a musical instrument more. It loses its tone if it is not played frequently. The deep abdominal and back muscles that support almost everything you do are one of the first places to become weak. Turning, lifting, stabilizing, rising from a chair, and getting out of bed. These muscles shrink when they are not used, even for a little period of time. And when they get smaller, your equilibrium starts to deteriorate. You lose your composure. You get more terrified the less stable you feel. Additionally, you move less when you're terrified. The trap is that fear is gradually taking the place of motion, not aging or illness. One 83-year-old woman I met had always been self-sufficient. Her name was Eileen. She made the decision to completely quit caring for her garden after tripping in it. Don't bend anymore. Stop reaching. She initially believed she was simply being reasonable. However, her body started to weaken and constrict over the course of the following several months. Her back hurts. Her world shrank to her television and sofa. Eileen said it best when her doctor referred to it as deconditioning. I was slowly dying, but I believed I was protecting myself. To be clear, this does not mean that actual risks should be disregarded. Asking for assistance or using walking aids or support rails is not inherently stupid. Those are wise choices. However, there is a significant distinction between accepting risk and managing it. Your body gradually forgets how to move at all when fear controls your movements. The mind also forgets when the body does. Therefore, it's time to stop and consider if you're shielding yourself or quietly leaving life, if you've realized that you're doing less, not because you can't, but rather because you're afraid of what might happen. Because it takes more than just avoiding falls to survive past the age of 80. It's about continuing to move, even if it's more slowly or deliberately. Memory is motion. Identity is motion. Your body needs motion as a signal to stay alert, robust and vibrant. Therefore, begin where you are. Gently stretch. Even if you only go for a quick stroll, do it. Get a little more upright. Take back your motion. Even when it starts with a single cautious step, if you're still here and this resonated with you, please let me know by leaving a comment in the second section below. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and share this video with a loved one so that we can continue to provide you with resources to live fully, one meaningful habit at a time. The third reason is disturbed sleep due to erratic exposure to light. Your body has a silent conductor, a rhythm that guides everything in the background without creating any sounds. Your immune system, digestion, mood, memory, and even the degree to which your brain heals itself as you sleep. We refer to it as your circadian rhythm. Additionally, this rhythm becomes more sensitive than ever after the age of 80. Here's the problem though. Every day,
A lot of people inadvertently upset their equilibrium just by depriving their bodies of the light they require to function properly. Your body doesn't simply function on schedule, you see. It is powered by light, natural light in the morning and darkness at night. The harmony of your system is maintained by that contrast. However, our relationship with light frequently alters as we age and rarely in a positive way. Perhaps the mornings are too bright or too cold for you to go outside. Perhaps you sleep in front of the TV at night or spend the most of the day with the curtains drawn. Maybe right before bed you scroll on your phone or read on a tablet. Even though each of these behaviors might not appear harmful on its own, when combined, they give your body conflicting signals. The natural signal is the morning light. It instructs your brain to awaken, increase vitality throughout your body, enhance focus, and raise energy. The hormone that helps you fall into restful deep sleep, melatonin, is released by your body in response to darkness. However, your internal clock becomes confused when your eyes miss the brilliant morning light or when your evenings are dominated by artificial brightness and dazzling devices. You may wake up feeling drowsy after what seems like a full night's sleep, or you may find yourself lying awake at night while being exhausted. During the day, you may begin to nod off, get more forgetful, angry, or just feel unwell. And in the long run, this goes beyond poor sleep. It impairs your immune system, causes mood swings, delays the healing process, and raises your chance of cognitive decline. Vitamin D is an additional layer as well. When sunlight strikes your skin, it is naturally produced by your body. However, after the age of 80, your body's capacity to produce vitamin D through the skin declines, making regular exposure to daylight even more crucial for your bones, muscles, brain, and long-term resilience. One man I met, Raymond AA 86, had been dealing with mental fog, low vitality, and sleepless nights. He had strong teeth. He admitted that he hadn't spent much time outside his flat since the previous winter, but his laboratory appeared to be in good condition. He frequently watched television till midnight and resided in a high-rise with thick curtains. There was no medication prescribed by his doctor. Rather, she advised him to spend 15 minutes on his balcony or at a bright window every morning after opening his shades. She also suggested using only warm, gentle lighting in the evenings and shutting off all screens an hour before bed. Her counsel was taken seriously by Raymond. His sleep improved in 2 weeks. He claimed that after a month he felt 10 years younger and made no significant changes. He simply restored the light. Thus, it might be time to change if you've been spending your days indoors, with the shades pulled, if your mornings begin in low light, and if your evenings are illuminated by TV or tablets for the sake of true biological equilibrium, not for personal comfort. Begin modestly. Within 30 minutes of waking up, open your blinds. If you can, spend a few minutes outside. Let the morning light shine on your eyes and skin. Wake up. It's time to live. It also suggests that you switch off screens in the evening. Turn down the lights. Allow your body to relax on its own. Let your sleep have the soft darkness it needs, because it takes more than just nutrition and exercise to age well. Rhythm is very important. Additionally, rhythm is what lets your body know that you're still on course. The world still includes you. You remain here. The fourth reason is emotional repression brought on by loneliness and grief. When a person reaches their 80s, they have likely experienced both a lifetime of love and, equally frequently, a lifetime of loss due to the death of a spouse, sibling, best friend, or occasionally even a child. Few people really comprehend how subtly that sadness develops over time, not only in recollection but also in the body itself, even if others may say nice things or nod sympathetically. Heartbreak frequently turns into a habit because it feels too difficult to communicate, not because the agony goes away. You convince yourself that by now you ought to be accustomed to losing, that your life is complete. You keep silent because talking won't make anyone come back. When someone asks how you're doing, you smile. Something tightens inside of you and remains that way even when you say, "I'm fine." This goes beyond simple melancholy. It's the repression of emotions, the gradual, imperceptible process of holding on to grief rather than letting it out, and every bit of it is felt by your body.
You might not cry. You might not talk about the things you've lost. However, what the intellect won't speak, the body recalls. Sorrow does not go away when suppressed. It becomes ingrained in your breathing, posture, muscles, and sleep patterns. That weight eventually appears in unexpected places. It weakens your immune system. Your digestion breaks down. Your mood abruptly changes. You don't sleep as well. Your breathing is shallower. Additionally, you may wake up one day feeling as though a piece of yourself has subtly disappeared. Lorraine, an 85-year-old woman I once met, lost her twin sister the previous year. For more than 60 years, they had chatted daily. However, Lorraine remained silent regarding the death of her sister. "I don't want to burden my children," she remarked.
She claimed to have come to terms with it, but after a few months she stopped taking calls, became disinterested in her knitting circle, and started waking up at 3 in the morning. My heart thumping inexplicably, looking at the ceiling night after night. It wasn't sickness. It was grief with no escape. The problem is that emotional suffering doesn't have to be dramatic in order to be harmful. When unsaid, even silent sadness starts to influence how your body feels and works. Pain requires energy that your body could have used for healing, connection, or just feeling alive. However, everything changes when you give yourself permission to communicate your feelings, even if they are subtle. Making room is all that is required. You don't need to yell or cry. Say it aloud. She is missed.
You're still upset. I'm not sure who I should speak with anymore because the heart, like the lungs, needs to breathe. Let those words out without judgment. The rest of the body gradually follows when the heart is silently suffocating. However, healing starts when the heart is opened up via communication, journaling, and connection. For this reason, there is often a commonality among those who live well past the age of 80. They can write the words they can't express aloud in a secret journal, a safe haven, a trusted individual, a religious community, a therapist, or even a private journal. The goal is not to solve grief. Feeling it is the key to preventing it from festering.
Therefore, if you've been putting things off because you didn't know where to put them, rather than because you want to, this might be your time, for your life, not simply your feelings. In actuality, the heart can only hold so much before it starts to abruptly, silently, and gradually shut down, and you must let your heart to feel if you want to live after 80, not merely breathe. Second, if you've read this far and find my message meaningful, please let me know by leaving a comment at number 4 below. Additionally, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and share this video with a loved one. We are able to continue producing heartfelt material for people like you, thanks to your support. The fifth reason is a progressive loss of everyday purpose. Disease or physical deterioration is not the only factor contributing to the difficulties faced by many older persons over the age of 80. It's the gradual, silent loss of everyday meaning, not the sort of goal we discuss in eulogies or write about in memoirs, not lofty aspirations or life objectives, but something more modest and straightforward, the kind of purpose that motivates you to get out of bed and gives you a cause to move, stretch, observe, or are. Since someone will be accompanying you, it's the rhythm of brewing tea in the morning. The birds on your balcony are expecting you, so you're feeding them. Knowing that you're going out this afternoon, it involves making a list for the grocery store. These small customs, which are frequently silent and unassuming, add a little zing to your day, and the body begins to lose its feeling of purpose as they begin to disappear. Most individuals initially fail to see it. Weekly clubs come to an end. A friend leaves. I can't do the gardening since my knees hurt too badly, and gradually the days start to blend together. The once full calendar now appears to be empty. There are fewer phone rings. You become aware that you haven't spoken all day as the afternoon comes. This is not the result of someone ceasing to care. It occurs when the little habits that give life its structure start to fall between the cracks. Additionally, the body fades when the mind no longer perceives a compelling motive to participate. Sleep becomes erratic. The immune system itself becomes less effective. It's waiting for instructions, a reason to switch on or a reason to appear, not because it's broken. Peter, a man I once knew, had worked as a school janitor for more than 40 years. He continued to be involved after retirement by willingly cleaning the neighborhood church every Friday. Nothing fancy, simply sweeping the floor, setting up the hymnals, and cleaning the windows. He didn't skip a week. However, Peter discreetly stopped visiting once the new pastor hired a cleaning service. He completely stopped leaving the house after a few months. He didn't miss his job. It was the purpose, the sense of belonging, of having a role and a duty. His rhythm vanished along with that. This is a profound biological fact. Purpose causes the human body to react. It needs it, just like food or exercise. The nervous system remains active when there is an issue to address, no matter how minor. The cells heal more quickly. Memory is more durable. However, the body detects when the perception of utility wanes and systems start to do nothing. The body listens while the mind starts to whisper things like, "What's the point?" It slows down the digestive process. It takes energy away. It lowers vitality's volume because it no longer recognizes the need for it, not as a kind of punishment. Furthermore, this type of fading is not noisy. It's soft, even serene. That is the reason it is so risky. There may be a deeper reality hidden beneath the silence, even if you are not feeling depressed or ill, just a little keen, a little more exhausted, and a little less interested in the things you used to like. The soul is yearning for guidance. For this reason, people who age well frequently share a trait, some sort of anchor, but not big families or perfect health, something that intentionally pulls them into the day. There is no need for it to be thrilling. All that is required is consistency. A puzzle in the morning, a stroll at sunset, a Sunday phone call to an old friend, prayer, journaling, and careful folding of clothes. What it is doesn't matter. The fact that it exists is what counts. Productivity isn't the goal. It has to do with belonging. It's about realizing that you still have an impact on the world, even if it's a small one. Therefore, it might not be an indication of aging if your days have started to lose their shape, or if your mornings feel adrift. Rather, it might be a signal from your inner life asking to be important once more, and the solution is not too far away. The sound of a spoon in a teacup, the whisper of a page turning, or the soft knock of memory reminding you that you are still here for a reason could be the closest thing to it. As this video comes to a close, I want to leave you with a straightforward yet impactful message. After the age of 80, most people do not start to deteriorate due to a single incident. Rarely does a simple diagnosis or a fall transform everything. The gradual and silent disappearance of everyday structure is what really makes a difference. Tiny pleasures and significant motivations to participate. It frequently occurs so subtly that you barely notice. A bit less purpose every day, a missed walk here, fewer chats there, more time spent indoors. Then one day you notice that you don't feel as energetic. Your days begin to blend together as your mood becomes a little lower. The hopeful portion comes next. Like decline, rejuvenation is a gradual process. One tiny choice that helps you get back into your groove is the first step. Perhaps it's spending a few minutes outside every morning. Calling a friend you haven't spoken to in a long time might be the solution. Perhaps it's making a small habit, like smiling at the grocery store clerk or stretching for 2 minutes. These things aren't particularly large or spectacular, yet they add up to something far more powerful over time. Momentum, a feeling that life is still going on and that you are still important. I therefore want you to consider what we have discussed. Which of the 5 quiet reasons that many older persons struggle after the age of 80 most resonated with you? Which one caught you off guard? More significantly, what tiny action are you willing to do today? Because while we cannot halt aging, we can control how we experience it on a daily basis. And you might discover that life after 80 can be just as fulfilling, connected, and purposeful as the years before if you're prepared to notice the small changes in your body, habits, and heart. Leave a comment below with your opinions. Which realization struck a chord with you? Which habit do you intend to reestablish? Additionally, if this video was useful to you, please subscribe to our channel, like it, and share it with someone who might benefit from it. Your assistance enables us to keep producing intelligent, enlightening, and inspirational content. We sincerely appreciate you spending this time with us, and we hope to follow your journey together in the upcoming video.